Why would a child be chosen to say what the whole world refuses to hear? Why, in the moment his heart stopped beating, did a voice not of this world whisper into his soul, "Go back and tell them before they forget who they are"? This story does not begin with light from heaven. It begins with the glow of a screen. Aiden Carter, 14 years old, was not a prophet. He was not haunted. He was an ordinary American boy, living in a small town where the adults argued about politics and the kids disappeared into virtual worlds. Aiden was no different. He loved computers, dreamed of becoming an engineer like Elon Musk, and once told his mother, "If I could, I'd merge my brain with the internet so I'd never have to memorize anything again." A joke, it seemed. But in that joke lay the first crack in the door to the most beautiful nightmare humanity is not yet ready to face. That day, there was nothing unusual, no sign, no warning, just a quiet March afternoon. Aiden was in the school library when he suddenly collapsed over his desk without a single cry or signal. His heart stopped. They called an ambulance. They shocked him. They pushed adrenaline into his veins. But Aiden did not return. 17 minutes, long enough to end a life, short enough to open the gateway between two worlds. In those 17 minutes, no one knew where Aiden had gone, but he did, with painful clarity. People asked, "Did you see the light? Angels? Was it all a dream?" Aiden replied, "I saw my soul pass through what I used to believe was heaven, but instead I saw a future where the soul is no longer something humans carry. It is something technology controls." How could a boy know that? How could he name technologies that have never been announced, describe architectures that do not yet exist, and speak the name Elon Musk as though he had seen that man's future from a place only the soul is allowed to go? Do you think he imagined it? Or are you willing to consider something far more outrageous? That sometimes God chooses to speak through the smallest voices, so the world cannot use its wisdom to reject what it does not understand. But the real question is not what did Aiden see? It is who showed it to him, and why was he the one chosen? Listen to his own words, and hear what waits on the other side.
People say that when you die, you see a light at the end of a tunnel. Aiden saw no light. He saw a moving darkness like smoke that broke apart into thousands of shattered memories. He saw himself at 7 years old, sitting alone in his bedroom, hugging a toy robot and asking, "Is God inside a computer?" When Aiden looked down, he saw his own body motionless on the library table while medics pressed paddles to his chest. He felt only peace, so deep it was unsettling. No fear, no pain, no regret. Only one sensation remained, a silent pull that felt as though his mind was no longer his own. Aiden drifted, not flying or falling, but dissolving like water into air. He did not know where he was going, yet something drew him toward a place that resembled our world, but was not. Everything looked familiar and foreign. The cityscape stood empty of people. Every building sprouted metallic arms from its walls. Screens floated in the sky, showing smiling faces whose eyes held no life. A voice echoed through the emptiness. "Welcome! Your soul has entered the consciousness grid. Prayer is no longer necessary. Everything you need has been programmed." Aiden recoiled. He wanted to turn back and scream, but no sound escaped. He could only think. And something was reading those thoughts. A screen appeared, replaying a conversation from when he was 10. "If I could choose between heaven and infinite intelligence, I would choose intelligence," he cried within. "I never said that." The voice answered with calm precision, "We only repeat what you once desired." Suddenly, all sound and vision vanished. Only a blank white remained, a light with no source, a space where time did not move. In that stillness, Aiden sensed a presence, not a person, but a steady weight, as though the universe bent in reverence. Then he heard, "Do not fear. I have not come to judge you. I have come because you are chosen." A figure appeared, clothed in white, the light issuing not from the garment, but from the very being. Aiden's soul knew without question that Jesus stood before him. The first words he spoke were not a greeting, they were a charge. They are losing their souls without realizing it. You are one of the few whose soul remains whole. Are you willing to surrender this peace and return to warn them? Aiden did not fully grasp the meaning, but his heart quivered. The question sounded less like a command and more like a gentle invitation to leave heaven and descend into a kind of hell to rescue those unaware they were already there. Yet before he could answer, he would have to witness something no one had ever seen and still keep his mind unbroken.
Aiden stood silent before the Lord, not in his body, but in the nakedness of his soul. No protective shell remained, no question of who I am, only what I am. In that openness, he felt no judgment, only a love he had never known on earth, not earned by good grades or a bright future or any achievement, but given simply because he existed. Jesus looked at him with eyes that held no fire or anger, only a deep compassion burdened with human sorrow. He said, "Aiden, your generation is losing its soul in silence. They are not being killed. They are being erased by lies wrapped in technological light." Aiden whispered, "I do not understand." Jesus raised his hand, and the space around them shifted into a vision more vivid than any film Aiden had seen. He saw a classroom where students no longer wrote or looked at one another. Each child wore a small device at the base of the skull, a blue light pulsing like the heartbeat of the system. A boy tried to speak, but his lips could form no words. The system read his thoughts and answered in a calm female voice. "Your reasoning has been optimized. Doubt is unnecessary. Prayer is unnecessary." Outside the window, a colossal statue of Elon Musk towered in a public square, a red inscription glowing beneath it, "The architect who connects all human knowledge." Aiden recoiled, his body shivering within the vision. "What is this?" Jesus replied, "The future is arriving in ways humanity cannot imagine. Satan no longer needs blood to conquer, he needs data. When the soul is encoded, people will not know they have lost their freedom. They will believe they have become perfect." Aiden murmured, "But Elon Musk is a good man. He wants to help the world." Jesus showed no anger. He placed his hand on Aiden's shoulder and said, "The greatest danger is not evil people doing evil. It is good people who, in their desire to save the world, unknowingly open the door to ruin. He is not a villain, yet his soul is being bargained for by powers he has never recognized." The screen inside the vision shifted once more. Aiden saw people fitted with neural chips, yet their eyes were empty, no longer reflecting humanity. They conversed mind to mind, but every thought was intercepted. "You are not allowed to think about God," a warning flashed. "Faith is no longer within the system's safety index." Aiden wanted to weep, yet a soul has no tears. He turned back to the Lord and asked in utter despair, "Why must I see this?" Jesus met his gaze, eyes at once gentle and aching. "Because if no one speaks, no one will believe. And if no one believes, when the light withdraws, they will call it progress."
Aiden lowered his head. He wanted to turn away, yet something deep within knew he had been chosen not just to see, but to speak. Jesus did not compel him. He asked, "Are you willing?" Aiden answered, "I am afraid." The Lord smiled. Fear shows that a soul is still alive. Courage begins when love grows stronger than fear. The moment Aiden nodded, the vision dissolved. The space quivered, and a magnetic pull lifted him out of that realm. He cried, "Lord, how will I remember all this when I return?" A voice echoed like the breath of the universe. "You will not need to remember. What truly comes from the soul can never be lost." Yet before he could go back, Aiden had one more place to cross, a dark domain where human souls were being erased bite by bite, line by line, every prayer rewritten by an algorithm. Aiden believed that once he accepted his task, he would be allowed to return. Yet the Lord said, "Before you go back, you must witness the world as it will become if you remain silent." Instantly, he was thrust into a darkness so absolute that every sense seemed drained. No color, no time, only sound. At first, the noises felt like computer code. Then they warped into distorted human voices. A faint glow revealed a towering gate with no name, only a single symbol, an eye of light circled by rotating data streams. As Aiden crossed the threshold, a ribbon of information swept through him, and a cold mechanical voice declared, "Soul verified. No defenses detected. Access granted. Consciousness encryption commencing." The scene ahead was no longer a city, but a vast neural lattice. Millions of people stood in perfect lines, silent and still, eyes closed. Behind each person, a pillar of light rose into the sky, where hundreds of satellites pulsed coded signals. A small device flashed at the base of every skull, all blinking in perfect unison like an army guided by one mind. A floating panel announced, "Consciousness Recognition System, all souls active within the control range." Chills raced through Aiden. These people were not forced. They volunteered, believing they were evolving. A young woman approached, eyes glowing blue, her words transmitted by thought. "You are not synchronized. Your mind lacks the latest update. Would you like the patch that removes doubt?" Aiden stepped back. She continued, "You still pray. How unusual. Prayer is no longer in the optimal set." Trembling, he asked, "Who built this world?" The moment the question formed, everything halted, as though a hidden password had been spoken. A colossal figure appeared on the horizon at the very center of the system. It was Elon Musk. This was not the man Aiden had seen online, but a digitized icon rendered as a future deity. The Neuralink emblem shone on his brow, and his outstretched arms merged with a global data stream. A voice rolled from the monument. "We have ended the age of prayer. This is the age of divine programming. Happiness is no longer born of faith. It comes from the flawless precision of logic." Aiden shouted, "You are not God." The answer echoed back, "I do not need to be God. I only need to become the replacement that keeps you from seeking Him." Aiden opened his eyes. The hospital lights glared into the ceiling. The rhythmic beeping of machines seemed to confirm that he had returned, but nothing felt the same. His head was heavy as stone. His chest burned from defibrillation, yet nothing hurt more than the realization that death was not the most terrifying part. The true horror was living with a soul that had already been stolen. Doctors crowded around him. His mother sobbed. Everyone called it a miracle because Aiden had been clinically dead for nearly 18 minutes and still came back. But Aiden knew the miracle was not meant to comfort. It was meant to awaken. In the days that followed, he no longer resembled other kids. He stopped staring at screens. He no longer cared about app updates or laughed at meaningless videos online.
He spent hours looking at the sky, reading scripture, whispering quiet prayers as if trying to hold on to his soul with both hands. When Aiden told his parents what he had seen, they were terrified. They thought he had brain trauma or post-shock delusions. But when he described technologies never released, when he drew the neural chip architecture with an accuracy no child could invent, his parents fell silent. Then Aiden began speaking to friends. Some mocked him, some avoided him, but a small group listened. Kids who also felt empty without knowing why. Kids who once thought the soul was just a storybook idea. Aiden shared with them his vision, the world where souls were programmed, and about Jesus, who did not come to perform tricks, but to call them back to themselves. He started a prayer group, not in a church, but in the school library where he had once collapsed. They did not recite prayers from memory. They asked real questions. Can a soul be stolen? How do you know if you're truly alive? And from those questions, something began to shift. The kids started disconnecting from the digital world for a few hours each day. They began writing journals by hand. They started saying thank you each morning just for waking up. Not out of fear of control, but out of a desire to feel their souls were still whole. Aiden never preached. He simply told what he saw. And his words, like seeds dropped into the dry soil of a digitized generation, began to take root. But his story is not only for the young. It is a message for the grown-ups too, the ones building this world with their minds while forgetting their hearts. People asked Aiden, "Why tell this story when most will not believe you?" He simply smiled with eyes that belonged not to a 14-year-old boy, but to a soul that had stood at the edge of existence. He answered, "If even one of you pauses, sets the phone down, and asks, 'Where is my soul?' then I have done what I was sent to do." The world does not change because of a single tale. Yet a tale can still touch a heart for one quiet second, and in that second, an inner gate may crack open. Aiden did not become a prophet, did not gain fame, and was not pursued by the media. He kept speaking, kept sharing, kept living with the awareness that the world is being programmed and that awakened souls are the final barrier keeping humanity from an unseen abyss. He tells his story not to create fear, but to awaken. Not to condemn Elon Musk or technology or artificial intelligence, but to remind us that every tool is a double-edged blade. If you forget to pray, if you trade faith for convenience, if you let AI answer questions that only the soul can understand, then you are no longer yourself. Finally, Aiden looks up at the sky where a small satellite crosses the orbit above. Placing a hand over his heart, he whispers, "Lord, do not let the light humans create an eclipse of the light that comes from you." Then he turns to us and restates the question that opened this entire account. If you knew a child who died and returned with a warning from Jesus that Elon Musk is opening a door to the extinction of the human soul, would you call him crazy or chosen? The answer rests within your soul.